Won't change, baby. I'm game chasing, yeah.
What's going on, guys? My name is Rachad Jad. I'm your host. Welcome to Talk Automotive Canada, the first episode ever. That was I clapped over my head, but I just want I'm going to be your host for tonight, guys. Welcome to our first episode in this YouTube channel. We're going to be covering the Canadian automotive market on a manufacturer level, supply chain, what's going on, wholesale, prices, inflation, anything that's got to do with the automotive industry. We're going to be dropping value bombs for you guys all across YouTube videos. And this is my co-host Jad, who's also my brother and the #1 Chevy salesman in Montreal. I'm very excited to announce him and have him as my guest host here today.
My name is Jad. I am the #1 Chevy salesperson in Montreal, and we're going to be bringing, general topics about what's going on. It's not just based off of, tips and tricks and how to get the dealer. It's we're just going to be going over the market. I'm very excited. It's going to be super raw. It's going to be super heavy, and brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
There's going to be some arguments. There's going to be some arguments on different opinions. The most exciting part about the show, Jad, that I want to share with everybody is we've got a lot of special guests that are going to be coming on. We've got people from the Donnelly Automotive Group that are going to be coming on. We also are going to have some general managers that are going to hit the show. We're going to have a service manager. Actually, we're going to have your service manager come on the show, who's a very, very, very good fixed operations manager for the Gravel Group. We're also going to have a rep from eBlock rep the show, and I don't even think I've told you this yet, but I've actually been able to get a hold of the Nissan Canada rep for all of Eastern Ontario, and he's agreed to come on. That's going to be really cool. I'm very excited. So let's get started, man. Let's talk about the chip problem. I mean, everybody's talking about the chip problem.
There's a bunch of stories that do go around based off the facts that we can get are pretty much that there was 2 factories, one of them burnt down, then COVID restrictions hit, and they kind of had to operate at a 50% capacity to be able to produce. Then there was also, Japan Japan and China, if I'm not mistaken, decided to help them with not just the chips, but the material to produce the chips. So they decided to supply them with extra material on the fact that they get first priority and first dibs on chips to be able to produce their cars. So that's why a lot of people, when they're going around lots and they're shopping, and I witnessed it because my dealership sits on the same lot as a Honda store. And when the Honda store has about 60 to 70 units sitting there, and then you see my GM store that kind of sitting on 15, 20 units, right? Everybody tends to ask the questions.
So you're saying the U.S. manufacturers have taken a bigger hit than the foreign manufacturers?
100%. That's why you notice that foreign manufacturers, they're still being able to keep up with product, keeping up with demand. I look around here. I drive around here all the time. I live very close to a busy street that has about 6 to 7 dealerships.
That's right, Taschereau Boulevard.
And you're capable to see
what are they called again? That group? What are they called? Park Avenue, Park Avenue Auto, or something like that.
There's Park Avenue. There's also
Park Avenue.
You also have Brassard Hyundai. There's 2 or 3 groups that sit on that street.
But Montreal is a big city.
Yeah.
Montreal has 3 million people in it. It's a little bit different.
A little bit more.
It's a little bit different. Do you think that demand is high? People are expecting things right now, and then we've got the supply chain issue, which is a whole other topic on its own.
You could see that there is a big demand, but you notice that a lot of people are calling from out of province. A lot of people are calling from out of province.
You're getting out of province people.
Out of province calls. I'm getting out of city calls. I get people from Quebec City calling all the time looking for specific things if we have them. I don't know if there's the shortages of dealerships out there, and that's the reason why they're making their way down to Montreal.
There's definitely a shortage, North American wide, right? We're seeing U.S. dealers right now actually mark up cars, and they call it market adjustment prices. So they'll add an extra $2,000 on MSRP on a car, and they're calling it market adjustment prices. That's crazy to me because now you're charging the consumer $2,000 more than what the manufacturer is asking you to charge. But on a dealership level, I get it. We're finally being able to make money on cars, and then we can't have the cars. So let's take the customers back. Let's take the viewers back for a second and talk about the problem and why this chip problem actually came to existence. So, as you know, COVID hit around March, right? April, I think, is when we shut down. And then in April of 2020, all the manufacturers decided to cancel their chip orders because they thought, demand was going to drop. Obviously, all manufacturers they build and have reserve stock and stuff like that just to kind of keep things going, right? So when they actually got rid of their orders, all the manufacturers, like the Taiwan Conductor Company, I think they're called, semiconductor company. You've got
Yeah.
Intel. Samsung actually builds chips for the automotive industry. They actually shifted all their manufacturing over to gaming and home workstations because everybody started working from home.
But
So
it's
now,
but
go
Richard,
ahead.
sorry to cut you off, but
That's okay.
it's not just that. Those semiconductor chips are not just used. See, everybody has the idea that these chips, it's just one chip going into a car, right? So everybody
Right,
thinks it's just one chip. I plug it in. Thank you. Have a nice day. Your car is ready to go, right?
right,
But what people fail to understand is that each vehicle, I can speak off what I know for GM vehicles, right? We have
right.
about 300 to 400 of those chips that go in per car, right?
Oh wow.
Tesla, Tesla has about 3,000 of those chips that go into one car.
Oh wow.
And you're not just there. Those chips are also used to power your computer. Those chips are also to use to power smart fridges, smart
Smartphone.
dishwashers, smartphones, etc. So it's not a chip that's just straight built for cars. It's a chip that's built for more than one thing. So in order for the supply and demand, right, it became huge,
Right,
right?
right,
And
right.
that's why people, for example, they're finding shortages not just on cars, they're finding shortages, for example, on graphics cards, on computers, um, on PlayStations, on stuff like that. So
Right,
it's
right.
not just, it doesn't fall into one thing. So when you're trying to keep up with all those things, and that's why GM just announced actually that they're planning on building a factory to produce the chips that should be done around 2024 in Arizona, that it's going to be built.
But I was just gonna say that there's a factor. Actually, I think also the Taiwan Semiconductor Company is building one in Arizona also. So Arizona, I don't know what city in Arizona anyway, made this huge tax break for semiconductor companies to come and start building. And based on the research I've done, and I'm not saying it's absolutely accurate and 100% correct, but apparently it's $5 billion to put up one of those factories.
Yeah, and you know what's fun is that if anybody does have anything or any research or anything like concrete on that subject, it would be really cool if they left it in the comments as well, because it also gives us the broad opportunity to also explore those things as well.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that'd be really nice. So, I want to take the last 2 minutes here to talk about what has that chip done to the prices of cars on your end of this country, and I'll tell you guys what it's done on our end of the country because I'm actually a used car manager right now. I run two used car lots. I run one for a Kia store and one for a Mitsubishi store. So I can tell you on the used car level, and Jad's going to tell you guys on the new car level what the situation is.
So, situation going on to how the chip has affected us. Well, obviously, it's affected our supply. It's also affected the consumers now are starting to understand that, hey, I don't want to negotiate. I want my car. I want my truck, right? And
Right.
then
They're not
sometimes
expecting to like haggle or go back and forth
no,
anymore.
because and it's sad because I see it in this, I want to say around this area, and I can vouch for my company that we don't do that because we don't support that tactic. But what a lot of dealerships are doing are they're posting when they're getting trucks that are already sold just to drive traffic to their stores.
Oh, make it look like they have inventory. That's interesting,
So
dude.
that's one thing. Like we didn't go that route because we've been in the business for so long. Like my dealership's been standing for about plus 40 plus years, right?
Right.
So obviously there's a name, there's a reputation there. But I had actually a customer call me 2 weeks ago who was telling me that. He was like, man, he's like, I'm calling these dealerships because they're showing that they have 2500s in stock, 1500s in stock. And they're telling me, no, sorry, they just sold, but I can order you one.
Right. That's a pretty, but like now the chip shortage though, like on the new car side, have you seen prices go up? Have you seen,
I've seen the prices here are still staying the same. Nobody's overcharging, but people are actually offering to pay more.
That's interesting. So somebody will come in and tell you, like, say your Silverado is like $50,000 or $60,000. They'll tell you they'll pay you an extra $2-3 grand.
4 or 5.
Wow. And what does that mean for you as a salesman?
And see, what happens for me as a salesperson is I always rather be honest. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I rather say, like, I rather secure it for you at the price that's listed.
You're such a bullshitter.
No, I'm being honest. I rather sell it at the price that it is.
You're a Husami, bro. It's in your blood. What do you mean?
No, I'm being serious, man.
All right.
I try to sell it at the price that it is.
I tried to see if he would lie. He doesn't lie.
You know, obviously, if somebody offers 1,500 more, $2 grand more, you know, and my other customer is not passing credit or whatever, and they want to jump the chain, you know, sometimes there are exceptions made, but it's very rare that you see that. Like I haven't had one person come in and pay over MSRP for a truck.
Right.
But I have heard of it. It's not that it's unheard of, and it's on the customer's end. It's not even on the dealership's end.
Right. So one last thing I want to mention is about the used car market, and I want to talk about how, you know, it's affected the used car market big time because we can't get new cars. We're not getting trade-ins. We're having to go to the auction, and so is everybody else. And then, you know, fewer cars, more demand, fuels prices. That's just the way, you know, the way it works. And then when you look at basically the U.S. Dealerships penetrating the Canadian market, coming in and actually paying for those cars, they're getting 30% off basically on the cars, right? It's causing us to pay more. What's interesting with me is that I'm finding that I'm buying the car today and I'm priced like crazy. I'm priced retarded, right? But in 90 days is when my price makes sense. It's so interesting to see the graph and watch it go through, right? So
yeah, but that's because you're looking like, so you're overpaying today, right? As the market is driving up. Do you understand?
Yeah.
What I mean? So as the market is driving up, eventually you're gonna get par.
Exactly. So what happens is I'm buying up here, right? And then the prices are down here, but then once, okay, so let's take Terrain, for example, right? So Terrain's in the market, right? Selling for $24,995. Once that one's gone, he can't get that car for 20 grand anymore. He's 100%. Paying 25. So I'm buying it at 25 right now, pricing it at 29,995. I look stupid, but 90 days later, you're gonna look like you're right there. But that's the strategy I've been running.
It's a whole. I think that's a whole topic we can get into, because
for sure
that'll be at least a 15 to 20 minute conversation that we'll have about that, because you have so much. There's so much differences in opinion on that, because you can look at, you know, you can price up here and wait, and then the market can go there. But if the market drops, what are you gonna do? And
right. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that dip. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude.
And then,
I have no idea what I'm gonna do.
But at the same time, you're looking and you're going like, okay, but you're also like, as a business owner, I guess you could say, is I'm also paying interest on these cars for 36.
Right. For sure.
You know, so you need to have that in your head. So yes, you're paying 25, for example, for a Terrain, right? But how much is the dealership paying? Now, like, I know Donnelly, you guys are great at that. You guys are awesome at that. You know what I mean? Where you guys will overpay for cars, no problem, right?
Right.
Versus my dealership, for example, we're a little bit more conservative. We like to pay the market, right? Other than
right.
But
different dealerships are playing different strategies.
Exactly. You know, some dealerships are playing the averages. Some dealerships are playing the profits now. But that comes down to, like I said, a whole other episode that we can do about that.
That's right. Now, what I'm excited about, The reason why I wanted to mention wholesale is because next week we're going to have Andrew from eBlock chime in on what's going on in the wholesale market. How are they getting clients to actually put cars online and go through the wholesale process? And for those of you that don't know who eBlock is, it is one of the biggest online auction platforms on the market that just streamlined and revolutionized the wholesale industry. Listen, we're going to wrap it up. If you guys like the topics that we're talking about, make sure you hit subscribe, like the videos. It helps with the algorithm, and make sure you hit the notification bell. We're going to be dropping videos every week, dropping nothing but value bombs. Make sure you follow us on Talk Automotive Canada on Instagram. We have a funny TikTok coming out, a bunch of things like that. We're going to have some fun with it. So thanks for coming in, Jad. I appreciate it. You guys are going to see him on and off often. I mean, every time he's got time, he's going to be in here with us, giving us his opinion and what he thinks. And some episodes are going to be better than others. That's just how it works. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
شو بحبك لما تحكي